Hi everybody, Renegade 67 and or 8 here with some more Let's Play Stream Fate's Day Night of the Blind Varietai. Last time on Fate's Day Night of the Blind Varietai, Rin told us not to use our Super Fudge Attack anymore, even though we want to use our Super Fudge Attack because it's our Super Fudge Attack and it's super and it's fudge. But Rin said no, so it looks like, Shiro's going to go through some kind of arc probably into realizing that it should be okay to use it because he's special, even though he probably thinks he's not because he's a Death Seeker, and Rin telling him that he's not is going to reaffirm that he shouldn't, which is a problem. But it's not necessarily a problem because Shiro being a Death Seeker is a bad thing, but Saber was sort of already resolving that, so we don't need Rin adding to that, taking away from him doing good stuff, especially if his Death-seeking nature is arguably a good thing because he's got Wolverine powers, so it lets him go overboard and not take repercussions. In theory, it shouldn't be a good thing, but because of his unique circumstances, maybe his death-seeking is actually works out for them. Potentially. We'll see.
気休めだろうけど、もしもの時の痛め止めぐらいは飲んどきなさい。うまくいけば、あざで変色した肌も治るかもしれないし。
It'll probably just be a little comfort, but at least take some painkillers just in case. If it works well, it might heal your bruised skin as well. Does it need painkillers? I thought he was fine. Pretty sure his Wolverine powers take care of that for him. Saying that, she prepares a light green powder for me. Drugs! More Tosaka drugs. A different variety, but it's still drugs. I drink the medicine with tea. Ah, so you're drugging my tea, are you, Tosaka? That sounds like the next step towards repay. Tosaka rummages through her stuff and tries to prescribe me another medicine. Oh, prescribe? You're doctors now, huh? Dr. Tosaka? Ellipses. Well, I feel sorry for Tosaka rummaging through her stuff, but I'm bored just sitting here, so I should molest her. What? This is my first route. Yes, that's right. I have not done any... I'm sure at some point I'm going to replay the game and look down other pathways. There's probably some true ending that I'm probably not on, but yeah, this is still my first very long playthrough. Ask about the projection magic. Question number 1. Silence is good. Oh boy. Right off the bat, we got a choice. Hold on. Choose. I choose you, Bulbasaur. I choose you. Bulbasaur. Ask about the projection magic. Question number 1. Silence is good. Well, I sure want to know about the projection magic. I think Shiro should know about it. I don't know if that's what Shiro's thinking. Flowchart. I didn't even know there was a flowchart. I'm trying my best. If there is a flowchart, I have not seen it, and I don't want to use any kind of flowchart. If you've seen my playthrough of Zero Escape, which I'm sure you haven't if you're asking this question, you'll know that I despise flowcharts. Like, in games with multiple pathways, I want to find the branches myself. Generally. Maybe at some point I give up, I get frustrated because there's too many branches and I don't know what I'm doing, but if I have an idea for how the game might move forward in a certain direction, I want to try that before looking at any flowchart. Flowcharts drive me crazy. Zero Escape triggered me so hard with that flowchart. Anyways. So let's see here. I'm just gonna ask about the projection magic. I'm not sure what question number 1 even means. And silence is generally not good. Silence might be the sexual route where I'm silence, and it's the awkward silence before the makeup sex, you know? I mean, there's nothing for us to really make up about. We seem fine, so I guess there's not going to be any makeup sex. So let's just do projection magic. That is what I'm interested about. She asked to drop it, but I don't want to drop it because she might know that there might secretly be something special about Shiro that she's not telling us. So I'm just going to go projection magic. I'm not sure what question number 1 means, so part of me wants to pick that to know what Shiro means by that, but this is too tantalizing, so I'm going to go projection magic. Yeah. I understand what this projection magic is, but I want to know more details about it. especially the part about forming your image.
なあ、遠坂。忙しいとこ悪いんだけど。
Tosaka, sorry to interrupt you while you're busy. Maybe you can do the whole save scumming just to check it out? No, there's no save scumming. My choices are final until they're not. At some point, I'll go back. There's a couple choices I do want to go back and check the other branches for sure. Even beyond just playing another playthrough. But I like to commit to each choice, at least on my first run. I don't want to go back and check choices. Sorry to interrupt you while you're busy.
何よ、早くしろってんなら蹴っ飛ばすわよ。
What? I'll kick you if you tell me to hurry up. What? Rude. Oh, so that makes sense. You know, your legs are very nicely what's the term? Complemented by your little dress and your stocking leggings. Therefore, that would be the most sexual way to assault me. With your hands, you have like full sleeves. Your arms are definitely less sexual.
探し物が見つからなくてイライラしてるのはこっちなんだから。どうしてこうしまったはずのものがなくなってるのよ、この家は。
I'm the one irritated by not being able to find the thing I want. Hey, why does everything I put away disappear in this house? Oh, put everything you put away? Rin's thighs are her most notable feature in the Phantom's eyes. Well, yeah. After her charming personality. Everything you Okay, so either this means you're just klutzy and bad at organization, or you're not used to organizing in a space that you're not familiar with, where you're so much more used to your own place, and you've gotten used to that system, so you're still trying to get used to a new system here, and it's not working. Or there's some hidden bullshit going on. If everything disappears, maybe someone's stealing it. Or maybe it's being used by some weird, fancy boundary field that's going on that nobody, even Shiro, doesn't know about, that relates to how he became part of this Grail War without even understanding it. Gosh. She complains, as you do. This is certainly like her. Everything she does is perfect, but especially the part where she always messes up her preparations. Oh, that's perfect too. Well.
ああ、そのまま。探しながらでいいから、さっきの話の続きをしてくれないか。
That's interesting. Going up to a girl and be like, "Oh, you're so perfect. Even your flaws are perfect flaws." Thank you. You can continue. You can keep searching. So, can you tell me more about it? You know, while you're searching, multitask.
その投影がイメージから作る模造品だとか、そういうこと。
About projections being like imitations made from images and all.
まあいいわ。話しておくことはあんたのためになるかもしれないし。
Alright, it might be useful for you to know, if you ever have to kill yourself again. She's really in a bad mood. She throws away the Boston bag she was rummaging through and sits back down in the chair. Did you go buying things? Buying drugs at some point? Is that why you were away doing other things when I was fighting Shinji? You were busy buying drugs to drug me up to make me a better fighter or something? Question. You're a liar, Tom's Tom. Don't you lie to me. I'm the liver. I'm living right now with the live. You're the post. What? Shio's attitude towards Rin is certainly improving from, man, some parts of the real Tosaka sucks too. These parts are also great. Even her shitty underlyings are perfectly shitty. Yeah. His opinion has definitely improved. Maybe there's some subconscious part to that where he's allowing it to improve now that he subconsciously knows he doesn't have to fight her. How dare I call you a post? Well, as long as you don't call me a note. An id note. Eh?
じゃあ手短に説明するわね。
I'll explain it to you briefly.
投影っていうのは手持ちにないものをその時だけ使うためのものよ。逆に言えばこの世にないもの、とっくに失われたものさえ復元することができる。
Projection is only used when you have to temporarily use something that's not there, but in contrast, you can even reproduce something that doesn't exist anymore or something that's already lost. Like how we reproduced Saber's sword. Super epic, awesome Caliburn.
本物を寸分たがわず想像できれば、あとは魔力で一時的に編み上げられるってこと。
It means that if you can imagine the original perfectly, you can temporarily create it using magical energy. That's what I did.
この投影したものは魔力の期間に応じて消えていくのは話したわよね。
I already told you this projected object disappears when the magical energy disappears, right? Did you? Maybe.
どんなに強い魔力でもイメージで編み上げた物体はだんだんと薄れていく。いいえ、それだけじゃないわ。
No, no matter how strong the magical energy, an object created by imagination fades away. No, not just that. Uh-huh.
そんな幻想は世界そのものが許さない。
The world will not permit such an illusion. Oh, is it like, law of confirmation of, like, you can't just time travel can't be real because if you go back in time, you'll be creating matter where matter wasn't before. So it's like you can't create something from nothing. Equivalent exchange. To create something is equal. Therefore, to create the magical Caliburn, you must be giving up the magic inside you. But he gets infinite magic because of Wolverine metachlorian powers.
だから投影によって編み上げられたものは一日だって世界にはとどまれない。
That's why anything created by projection cannot remain in this world even for a day. Uh-huh.
世界そのものが許さないってどうして？
What do you mean by the world not allowing it? Why not? Confirmation of mass? Or something like that. There's some worldly rule.
幻想は幻想だから何でもありなの。それがもし形を得てしまったら、それはもう現実でしょ?
An illusion can do anything because it's an illusion. I heard Genjutsu, Naruto. But when it takes shape, it's now reality, right? Uh-huh. That's more of a ninjutsu. Oh shit. Shiro can do ninjutsu.
けど現実にはそんなものは存在しない。その矛盾を解消するためにね。
But it doesn't
現実が
exist
幻想を潰しにかかるのよ。
in reality. So reality comes to destroy the illusion to remove the contradiction. Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that makes some kind of weird sense.
いい？魔術ってのは元からあるものに手を加えて違うものに切り替える現象を言う
There
の。
it is. Equivalent exchange.
等価交換よ。
To create something of equal value. Magic is a phenomenon that takes something already there and makes it into something else. It's transformation. Equivalent exchange. See? Fullmetal Alchemist is magic.
けど幻想に等価交換も何もない。イメージで作られたものが世界のどこにもない場合、それは絶対の矛盾になる。
So, you're saying that I am the Philosopher's Stone. Gotcha. Illusion totally ignores equivalent exchange. When something made from an illusion doesn't exist in this world, it becomes a total contradiction. But if I'm making it, then clearly it's not a contradiction. So your idea of how the world works is flawed. Because for it to be a contradiction, what that means is that your understanding of a world was a flawed understanding. Because if it's truly a contradiction, then it could have never happened in the first place.
だからこの時代にありえないセーバーの剣なんて投影したら世界そのものがその幻想を破壊する。
So if you project something like Saber's sword that doesn't exist in this time, the world itself will destroy the illusion. Wow, what a petty world. Just doesn't want to let Saber get her old sword back. It sounds like, bringing back swords back to life, bringing back characters back to life. It's kind of like the world's like, what are you talking about? It already died. You can't just recreate it. I mean, you could physically recreate it with metals and stuff, but you can't recreate it with, illusions. That's cheating. Who do you think you are? Mr. Philosopher, last name Stone? The world, that sword is already gone. Be gone, sword.
世界とつながって奇跡を起こすのはいいけど、世界にない奇跡を起こすのはご法度だから。
It's fine to create a miracle by connecting to the world, so you mean by using, the transformation or strengthening. But creating a miracle that doesn't exist in the world is forbidden. I mean, clearly it's not. Even if the world forbids it permanently, it clearly allows it temporarily. I think there's a bit of a distinction to be made.
通常の魔術っていうのは世界のどこかにある実物を目の前に持ってきて使うことよ。
Normal magic uses things that are somewhere in this
投影
world.
魔術は人間のイメージを彩色す
The
る。
projection magic uses human images, or imagination. Imagination does exist in this world. It's just, it's that whole thing of the humans are too big for their britches. Their imagination is so strong it can make things when normally it would have to be an equivalent exchange, but it's exchanging the human thoughts into reality, you could say. You're strengthening your thoughts, but your thoughts shouldn't theoretically be that strong, or the strain should kill you. I get what she's saying, but it doesn't because I have Wolverine powers. That's why the Holy Grail is so broken. It seems to break this roll over its knee. Yeah, exactly. It brings old heroes back to life. And yet, frickin' we're not allowed to, make projections last more than a day, but the frickin' Grail can bring back past heroes and bring them into existence from imagination for several days for this fight. Frickin' OP.
いかに魔術といえど、ここにないものを作り上げてはいけない。
Even magic should not be used to make something that doesn't exist in this world. So by that theory, by that logic of how the Grail is making these spirits come and stay for longer than they should, essentially breaking the rules of the world of, something from nothing. Shiro, in a sense, is doing the same thing of making the something from nothing by making the sword. Now, we still don't have an example of that sword lasting more than a day, so he might still be following the rules, but it feels like he's skirting them in a way that shouldn't be allowed, that feels similar to the Grail, possibly. So maybe the idea of him somehow being some kind of abomination created by the Grail might have some merit. Or being some... Or I think my winning theory right now is that he is some kind of Holy Spirit. He is some kind of what's the term? Heroic spirit. It's just that he was spat out improperly by the Grail due to the events of Fate Zero. Kira did say if the Grail is fake. Right, because there's fake Grails. I forget how that whole thing works. Them summoning spirit shows that the Grail is OP as fuck. So even if it's fake, it's a powerful fake. Oh, that's right. Of course, because it's not the real Grail. It's just the term they've chosen to give it, because that's how naming conventions work. Making spirits come. Oh, Tom's Tom. You and your tomfoolery. You know just how to get me in my pervy bone.
それは現実を侵食する幻想に他ならないから。
It'll be an illusion that violates the world. Violates? Ooh, right when I'm in my pervy mood.
生物が自己防衛を最優先するように、世界だって自己防衛を最優先する。
As living things put self-preservation as their top priority, even living immaterial things like chairs, is a chair put living as its top priority? Okay, interesting. I guess there's the molecules in the chair, and those want to live, but it's kind of weird when you think about it like that. The world also puts priority on self-preservation.
世界にとっての命は秩序でしょ。だから秩序を乱す矛盾、現実を侵食する幻想は世界そのものに握りつぶされるのよ。
The life of a world is order, right? Or is it chaos? So contradictions that create chaos and illusions that violate reality are destroyed by the world. But then there's progress. We're in the year 2020, but if we just go back 20 years, if we go back 30 years, 40 years, I forget exactly when. Hold on. When was the internet first created? Because it's 2,000 years of humanity plus, because we're just post whatever 2,000. I forget what we're post, but when was the internet first incepted? 1983. Huh. So yeah, if we go back 40 years before that, internet did not exist, and that's crazy. To anyone, who grew up in my age group or later, the idea of not having internet is ridiculous. I only looked this up because I only looked up when the internet first was created with the power of the internet. And we take this for granted, but for nearly 2,000 years plus, humanity just didn't have internet. It just didn't, and that's crazy to think of. Because humanity evolves, but even if they're evolving, that doesn't. I guess that's more of a change thing. So I think the idea of the world being a world of order, it's a mixture. I think it's order, but the order has to change. Now the changes might not happen in an instant, but the changes do happen. Obviously, the internet when it was incepted was extremely limited. She was actually just Jesus reincarnated. Of course. Like how Jesus suddenly makes bread out of nothing. Shiro makes swords out of nothing. That is the best analogy. Tozaka explains it all. Of course, I don't get half of what she said.
そうか。つまり俺がしたことはエミやシロの限界を超えているってことなんだな。
So you're saying what I did is past Emi Shiro's limits, right? But you are Shiro. Yes, you passed your own limits. But clearly those weren't your limits. Because you didn't die, you're fine.
だからそう言ったじゃない。
I already told you that.
投影はあなたの命を削る魔術だから、セイバーにねだられても使っちゃダメよ。
Projection is a magic that drains your life, so you shouldn't use it even if a saber asked you to. Oh, she would never ask me to if she thought it would be a risk to my life. Not at this point. Not anymore. Not when she's so, even before, back when she was, she just wanted to protect my life, she probably wouldn't have. But especially not now that she's horny. But clearly it's not draining. Either it's not draining my life as much as you think, or my Wolverine powers are fixing all of the draining, so it's fine. Tosaka resumes her search. Watching her, I realize again that the victory over Berserker was truly a miracle. So, after she makes me drink various medicine, she makes me practice simple strengthening to check on my health. And let me guess, you're fine? Better than ever, even. Like checking if there's anything wrong with my body by channeling magic energy through it and so on. And even though you lost 30% of your magic when dealing with Saber, I bet you're better than ever. Because you're, Wolverine Jesus or whatever. Tosaka is more like a doctor than a teacher today.
よし、問題はないみたいね。この分なら明日はもう来なくていいわ。
Alright, there doesn't seem to be any problem. You don't need to come tomorrow. Oh, I don't need to come, but I can, and I will when I'm thinking of you. So that means maybe I can actually hang out with Ilya tomorrow. Although, Ilya already went to sleep, so this is like her bedtime, so she just wakes up early, so I think we'd have to wake up early. But she might wake us up early. If she does wake up early, or she just sleeps extra long hours, she might have an extra long, 10-hour sleep cycle or something. But if she does wake up early, she would probably want to wake us up early to have playtime in the morning or something. Oh gosh, what's Ilya gonna do when I go to school? Because school's gonna be resuming or whatever, right? Because, no, I'm gonna be resuming school. That's right, I was taking a week or something off school to deal with Berserker and stuff, but that's done, right? So is he gonna be going back to school now? How's Ilya gonna react? Is she gonna want to be a transfer student? If they're gonna be hijinks? Maybe you should just, spend the day at home with Saber, because, and maybe that'll let them bond, so that, if and when Shiro dies, Saber is more okay with becoming Ilya's servant. Let me guess, you're telling me I don't need to come tomorrow because there's nothing more for you to teach me? Or whatever, so I should just learn my own way, and she can do her own thing, instead of wasting time training me when she has nothing to teach? Will school still be open after the Blood Fort incident for a while? I'm pretty sure it is, right? I'm pretty sure school's still open. There was a lot of injuries, but unless I'm misremembering, I feel like the Blood Fort did not completely cancel school, I don't think. Or if it did, it was only a couple days. I don't remember. I don't know. We should talk to Sakura about that. Or Taiga. I'm surprised. That means...
当然じゃない。今の状況で私があなたに教えることなんてないもの。
It's only
本
natural.
気で魔術を習いたいんなら、
There's nothing
こ
I
の
can
戦い
teach
が終
you
わってからにするべきよ。
in this situation. If you really want to learn magic, you should do so after this war is over. Or, you could try learning something from Ilya.
それに、もうアーチャーはいないでしょ。素人の協力関係はもうとっくに終わってたのよ。
An archer isn't here anymore, right? My cooperation with you is finished. I mean, you say that, but you're still here. You didn't sulk at all, and it seems like you're still invested in this fight. So are you sure your cooperation is finished? Is that really where your mind is? Maybe the reason you've come to this epiphany is because Ilya sort of got in the way. Like, she kind of stole what you were planning to do, and so you're backing off? Is it that simple? Like, you're too tsundere to get, to get in the middle of her bluntness? Being told that, I finally realize. From the beginning, we cooperated to fight Berserker. Berserker's gone and Tosaka's lost her servant. So, this should all have ended yesterday.
それじゃあ、遠坂はこれからどうするんだ？琴峰のところに行くのか？
Then, what are you gonna do now? Will you go to Kotomine? I mean, Ilya's already staying here, so I wouldn't mind if you stayed here, That would only be natural. Tosaka and Kotomine are close. So it should be fine for her to request his protection.
なんで？行くわけないじゃない。まだ負けてもいないのに。サーバントがいなくなったから戦えない。
Yeah, that's what I
なんてことは
thought.
ないでしょ？
Why? I won't go there when I haven't lost yet. It's not like I can't fight because I don't have my servant anymore. Jeez. You're saying that you're so earnest. You're too earnest. You're saying this to Shiro, knowing you don't have a servant, and he does have a servant, and they already aired the possibility of one of them wanting to steal Shiro's servant, and, you know, that's probably your best bet at winning. You're so earnest, and I know you're not going to do that. You're not that kind of person. But you just bluntly bring this up. Oh, fascinating. So you're saying you won't cooperate with me directly anymore, despite losing your servant? Because you don't want to mooch off me. Because that's why you suggested the partnership, was that you would the two of you would team up to beat Berserker, and now Berserker's beaten, so your partnership is over, but it's still just you, and so you think it would be bad to mooch on him when you wouldn't have allowed it in the reverse? Is that what you're getting at?
それにやり逃げってのも趣味じゃないしね。一度戦うと決めたからには最後まで事の顛末を確かめるのが責任でしょ。
It's not like me to quit this halfway. Once I've decided to fight, it's my responsibility to see it through to the end. I mean, okay, are you saying you're gonna fight Saber if it comes down to that? You just versus Saber? Or like, you know, I mean, I probably wouldn't even allow that. I would just fight you, but that would almost be like you taking advantage of my earnesty and not having Saber fight you, because legitimately I should just have Saber take you out if that's what's, you know, gonna be the case. As if it's only natural. Tosaka says it confidently. Dash. I'm stunned. No, I'm not surprised. I already knew Tosaka was this kind of person. She is really firm and amazingly selfish. That's one way of putting it. I don't know if selfish is the right term. If she was selfish, she'd try to kill you in your sleep and take Saber at this point. At least that's how I look at the word selfish. I think she just is so... She's very honorable, but she is so fixated on this fight that she can't even process what not doing this fight anymore would be like. So she's gonna do it till she wins, or she's dead, it seems like. I don't know. Maybe if Shiro and Saber win, she'll be okay with it, but she still wants to definitely participate. And so fascinatingly brilliant. Oh, and look at Shiro getting more and more enamored with her. It still definitely feels like the Saber route, but, you know, some of his Rin emotions are coming out now.
けど、それじゃどうするんだ？一人でやっていくのか？
But what will you do? Are you going to continue by yourself?
まだサーバントとマスターは残ってるんだぞ。
There's still masters and servants left. I mean, of course, if there were no masters left, then she'd win.
そうね。だからしばらくはここで情報を集めるわ。
Yeah, so I'll gather information here for a while. Gosh, that's so blunt. Like, you know, Ilya and me, and you're just... Maybe that's why you agreed to Ilya staying here without too much hesitation, because you realized you were in the same boat. Fair.
竜道寺の調査も再開しないといけないし。
I have to resume my research about Ryudo Temple as well. Fascinating. I guess me telling you, no, stay out of this, you don't have a servant anymore, it's too dangerous, wouldn't dissuade you at all?
しばらくはここに残る。いいのか？
Stay here for a while? Is that alright? I mean, if she went to Kirai's place, that would basically be giving up the fight, more or less, right? I mean...
そうしてもらえると助かるけど、もう協力関係は終わったんだろ？
That'll be helpful, but our cooperation has ended, right? So, oh, she's just gonna be mooching off you. She'll be living here, but she's not actually, you know... To be fair, she did sacrifice Archer so you guys could get away, so I think it's fair to let her stay here for a bit. But, and also we're letting Ilya stay anyways. But... the idea that we're gonna work independently, despite us living in the same roof, is odd. Ilya said she wants to fully cooperate with me, but you're still fighting to win, which is... And yet you're still okay with living with me, and you think I'm just gonna be okay with it, which is incredibly funny.
何言ってるのよ。バサカに勝てたのはあーちゃんのおかげでしょ。協力関係は終わったけど、その借りはまだ貸したままよ。
Wow.
返済が終わるまでここを提供するのは当然じゃない。
What are you saying? You were able to beat Berserker because of Archer. Our cooperation is over, but you still owe me for that. It's only natural for you to keep me here until you finish returning the favor. Yeah, but we're both participants of the fight. She's still... What, gonna put it off? Like, you're gonna be here, but we're not gonna work together, and we're gonna go do our own thing, even though you doing your own thing is very likely gonna get you killed? if it comes down to it, and it's just like, you know, if it's just, you know, one other servant and Saber, and I'm pretty sure the war ends once there's just one servant left, and whoever owns that servant is the winner. You can't win as just a master. You need a servant partner. Like, once it gets down to that, would you be willing to attempt to steal Saber? Would you try to steal another servant? Maybe your plan is to attempt to... Oh, we got a disconnect. So, I guess, what was I saying? Right. I guess that's, her plan. I suppose that her plan, Rin's plan, is to, steal, like, someone else's servant. But, like, she's gonna have to do that before it's just Saber. Because once it's just Saber left, at that point, Shiro and Saber win. Because to win the Grail War, you need a servant. And so the last servant left, essentially, wins the war. So what that means is you're either gonna have to try to steal... If you legitimately still want to fight, you're a very short-term thinker. Rin is a very short-term thinker. She really does not consider the long-term. She just wants to keep fighting and knows that there is a fight to be fought. But realistically, looking at the long term, she either has to steal Saber and beat other people so that she's the last one left with Saber, or steal some other servant and potentially, statistically speaking, likely have to continue fighting Saber to win with her new servant in order to win the war, as it were. Yet this means that she's still going to be at odds with me, but she's not even... I don't think she's thinking about it from that perspective because she's such a short-term thinker. Yeah, it's like, she's morally a good person, and she's, you know, she's got this, you know, honorableness to her, but she's still so bent on fighting. And she only sees like 5 seconds in front of her. She doesn't seem to think about the long term. It's just, there's a fight to be fought. I'm going to keep fighting, even if that's dumb. And initially I thought she was just going to accept herself in to be part of our team and help us win, help Saber win, because she doesn't actually care about the reward. And I think that she still doesn't care about the reward, but yet she might consider it not a real victory if she just mooches off of Shiro and lets Saber win. So she's gonna try to actually win as long as she can, which is ridiculous, you know, if you think about the long-term situation. But she's not thinking about that, of course.
それに責任は最後まで取るって言ったでしょ。
And I told you, I'm responsible right to the very end. Responsible for what?
ちょっとの間だったけど師弟になったしね。あなたを一人にしたら頼りなくって心配で聖杯戦争どころじゃなくなるわ。
We became student teacher even if it was a short while. I can't leave you alone or I'll be too worried to concentrate on the Holy Grail War. That's a kind of a nice reason. You can't go fighting off on yourself because you might be worried I'll get killed off of your screen, as it were. You want to be able to protect me if I become in danger, which is, you know, a nice tsundere way of saying you like me and all that. You want to make sure maybe that's your wish. If you get past this Grail Wars, that I'll still be alive and we can get giggity. Of course, even if Ilya's, you know, attempt to get in the way of that. If she went full Grimdark, she could have a chance to win. I'm sure she has the intelligence to go full-speed chess master. Yeah, I'm sure she's smart enough to consider the option of killing Shiro and taking Saber, but her morality is, like, in very much conflicted with that. It's like she takes after her father, I think, in the sense of there's a fight and I have to win the fight, but she does not take after him where the morality is concerned. My guess is that were her father to have lived longer, and were he have been allowed to raise her more, or if, you know, maybe it would have just naturally happened if she lived longer anyways. I don't know, I don't think so. She seems very steadfast in these beliefs. But if her father were to raise her into her teenage years, like, he probably didn't want to expose her to the grim darkness in the kid years, but maybe when she would have theoretically become a teenager, if her father was still alive, he might have raised her to be like, you know, like, you're gonna have to do some grimdark things in this war if you want to win. What matters is winning, you know, pragmatism and all that. Like the Ilya approach. Ilya was, you know, very pragmatic, but she had people still raising her to be part of the war all these years, as it were. And Rin didn't. Rin was on her own for the last, you know, 10 years or whatever, so it let her develop more of a moral compass. And I'm sure her father held back on anything too grimdark when she was still that young. But if she was to have lived longer, or he was to have lived longer raising her, he probably would have started teaching her grimdark things, and she might be more grimdark in this war, which might go more in contrast to her actual motives for the war. Because wanting to fight when knowing that'll likely lead to death, possibly your death, is kind of a fucked up mentality, in my opinion. And yet that's still her mentality because her father drilled that into her. He just didn't get around to drilling in his kind of gray morality into her. And so her character is stuck in this weird limbo where it's like, oh yeah, she's a nice person, but the way she acts and thinks is kind of fucked up, even if there is that moral code at the center of it. If Shiro does die, 80% sure she'll go very dark to win the war and use the wish to bring him back. That's one thought. Now that she's gotten so close to Shiro. After all, she used up her freaking crystal to bring back Shiro in the first place. And that was back when she didn't even know him very well, theoretically. So now that she does know him, and for her to have wasted her bring back Shiro, wasted her big crystal on bringing back Shiro for him to die now, then she might actually start getting grimdark. And being like, it doesn't matter anymore, I have to win because my wish is for Shiro to be alive. I could see that for sure. But, of course, we'd never probably see that, at least not in this game. I'd be surprised. It'd be a neat surprise to see epilogues after Shiro dies, but that's likely for... That might be something seen in other canons, other continuity outside of Fate Stay Night. We might see alternate interpretations, and I'm sure fan fiction exists, but, there's so much Fate out there that there might be real fiction that is based around what if Shiro died, something. I can't leave you alone or I'll be too worried to concentrate on the Holy Grail War. Yes. It feels like ages ago, but the Tosaka Rin that Emiya Shiro admired was a girl like this. That's why I'm happy. Daw! Tosaka has to be like this. I mean, no, she can be whatever she wants. How dare you tell her what she has to be? I mean, you're not telling it, you're just thinking it, but still. After all, I wouldn't know what to believe in if such a stubborn girl decided to give up. Jeez. Yeah, please give me your best regards, Tosaka.
なんだかんだ言って、お前がいないと右も左もわからない。俺とセイバーにはトサカが必要なんだ。
I don't know right from left if you're not around. We need you, Tosaka. Oh man, that's gonna make her blush for sure. I mean, now that we have Ilya here, I think we'd be fine. But it's true that Rin does have something of a certain maturity that Ilya lacks because of her purity. Ilya still has the fight mentality there, but she tends to be she's a gray morally gray character, but she's very much black or white and not much in between, if that makes sense. It's just that her black and her white together make the gray, whereas Rin I think is more a combination of white and gray. Ilya is very far end spectrum, full white, but also sometimes full black.
いいけど、あんたその言い回しはやめなさいってば。バカ正直なのはいいけど、気をつけないと誤解を招くわよ。
That's fine, but you shouldn't use that expression. It's okay that you're stupidly honest, but there might be some misunderstandings if you're not careful, Baka. That's because she's horny too. Everyone's horny for everyone. Even Shiro's horny for all the girls, but he doesn't think that he's worth any of them, that they would actually be horny for him. Therefore, everyone's horny and no one's acting. I mean, even Ilya is kind of acting, but she's not going full out, hey, Shiro, Not that she probably would at this stage. She'd probably wait till she was a little older before she went full horny, but... I don't quite understand why Tosaka would get mad at that. It's because you're toying with her emotions when she knows that there are other girls that might be, she's not sure if she's like, she wants to be with you, but she's not sure if she's worth it now that there's all this competition. Like, what if you just end up with Ilya? What if you just end up with Sakura? What if you just end up with Saber? Maybe she's starting to consider that a reality. And so she's like, I might not actually get it, so I'm mad that you're teasing me if you're not actually going to commit to it. And that's probably, there's also that, and that she's just generally a tsundere, but,
Tosaka, 誤解を招くって何を招くってんだ?
Tosaka, what kind of misunderstanding? The misunderstanding where you like her and or she thinks that you like her when it turns out you don't actually like her because she doesn't want to commit to liking you unless you truly do like her. Because that's how the tsundere generally operates.
今のは失言なの。 聞くなって態度で表してるんだから追求するのはルール違反よ。
Hold it. You let something slip out. My attitude should tell you not to ask, so asking me is against the rules. You should know by now that Shiro's too dense to understand the implied rules of the romantic contract. It seems Tosaka knows a rule I don't know about.
呆れた。これじゃセイバーも大変だわ。
I'm shocked. It must be upsetting for Saber if you're like this. Oh, wow. So, yeah, that's another reason. I did notice that Rin started to take, I think, Saber more seriously as a threat. And now that he's, watching Shiro and Saber interact, that's probably why she's backing off, because she thinks that the Saber and Shiro romance is gonna, make it to the end goal. So she doesn't want to even trick herself into thinking she has a chance, even if she does like him.
まあそれともあんたたちはそれでちょうどいいのかもね。少しぐらい麻痺してないと。
Well,
あなた
maybe
も
you
セイバー
two
もダメなのかもしんないし。
are fine like that. It could be pretty bad if you're not both a bit numb to it. Yeah. If they were all horny all the time, they might not be able to concentrate on the war. But being half horny and not being able to go, say anything about it also might make it hard to concentrate on the war. So it's,
よくわからないけど、そのセイバーが大変だってのは聞き捨てならないぞ。
I don't quite get it, but I can't ignore your comment about upsetting Saber. Why would she be upset, Tosaka? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I said back towards the beginning of this LP that Rin seemed to really probably subconsciously like Shiro, but came to realize that she liked Shiro, and that's why she started distancing herself for a bit, I think. But once she realized her own feelings, she probably started to realize the feelings for those around her. But especially because Shiro and Saber have been coming on strong recently. Rin, of all people, being the tsundere, probably wouldn't be able to answer this question.
だからあんたのそういうところが大変だって言ってるの。その分じゃセイバーの変化になんて気がついてないんでしょ。
I'm saying that aspect of you is upsetting. I bet you haven't even noticed the change in Saber. Actually, he has noticed a change. He hasn't noticed why the changes happened, but he has noticed a change. So if you can tell him what the change is, that would probably be very much to his liking.
セイバーの変化。
Change in Saber? Uh-huh. That's not a change on the outside, is it? If anything has changed about Saber, it's...
ああ、そういえば朝から様子が変だったな。
Oh yeah, she has been acting rather strangely since this morning. I'd argue that there's been a change in you too, Ren, but... Especially, this.
イリアがいたから不機嫌だったとは思うんだけど、それにしたって黙って正座してるわ。どうしたんだって聞けば夢を見たとか言って立ち去っちまうし。
Rin playing the romance aspect so on the nose is very new. She definitely was not doing this in the past. I think she's only starting to do it now, because A, she fully realized her feelings for him, B, Archer's dead, and so there's not as much of a problem with, getting hanky-panky with Shiro, maybe. But also seeing Saber and Shiro get kind of close made her probably a bit jealous and sort of want that as well with her and Shiro. Yeah, she has been acting rather strangely since this morning. Well, I think she's just in a bad mood since Ilya's here, even though she was bonding okay with Ilya earlier. But even now, she just sits there all quiet when I ask her what's wrong. She just tells me she's had a dream and leaves. A dream. Probably a wet dream. I forgot about it since I was busy with Ilya. Come to think of it, Saber was acting weird like she was half asleep or something. And now Rin is realizing the full extent that Saber is horny. She's so horny that even Shiro recognized it, which is very unelegant of someone like Saber.
セイバーが夢を見た？
Saber had a dream? Oh, is that weird? Are servants not supposed to dream? Is this some big plot hole?
え、何？それって驚くところか？
Is that really the surprising part? Ellipses. What? Do servants not dream? Do servants not dream? Is that like maybe she's dreaming because she's connected to me or something? Oh gosh, is this a big plot revelation? Oh, she's ignoring me. Of course, she's just going to her own world and thinking about it.
おい、黙ってないで何か言ってくれ。そんな顔されるとこっちまで不安になってくる。
Don't be quiet and say something. It makes me feel uneasy when you make a face like that.
ああ、別にそんな大したことじゃないわ。
Huh? Oh, it's nothing major.
単にサーバントは夢を見ないってだけだから。
There we go. It's just that servants don't dream. Well, she just did. So what does that mean? It probably has to do with her connection to Shiro, most likely. So, what does it mean? Shiro's weird. If my theory about Shiro secretly being a heroic spirit that got spat out in a weird way, maybe, and he started developing dreams because of his connection to the world and that it stayed for so long, he started, developing weird connections to the present day that shouldn't have been there. Maybe Saber coming into contact with Shiro, this weird, abnormal, deformed, heroic spirit that's not fully developed, because it got spat out as a child when they should have normally get spat out in their prime, as it were. Maybe her connection to him sort of passed on his weirdness and his deformity as a spirit into Saber, and so she's getting some of those deformed feelings as well. It could just be, her opening up to Shiro as a person or whatever, but I think that's a little too simplistic of an answer, given that we've seen, spirits throughout other Grail Wars, have genuine emotions. Saber felt like she had genuine emotions in Fate Zero. Archer felt like, he had some genuine stuff coming out. I think it's more than just, oh, they're emoting too much. Shiro also part of Arthurian time, if your crack theory is right. Who would Shiro be in that case? Unless Shiro is just Archer. Shiro is he got spat out. An immature Archer got spat out. There was some time distillation where an immature Archer got spat out, but then the real Archer got spat out. And then Archer sees himself in Shiro because Shiro was literally Archer, but some weird deformed version of Archer. Something, something, something. Servants don't dream.
そうよ。サーバントは夢なんて見ないわ。
That's right. Servants don't have dreams.
それでも見たって言うんなら、それは夢じゃない。単に誰かの記憶を垣間見ただけの話
But
よ。
if they say they saw one, it wasn't a dream. They just caught a glimpse of someone's memories. Oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck, oh shit. Shiro. Shiro hasn't had a dream that hasn't been a memory yet. Shiro has a bunch of dreams, but they're always memories. Oh shit, oh fuck. Because he dreams of Saber's past, he dreams of the fire, but that's still just a memory. If all of his dreams are memories, then that means he has the same issue, which more and more means he might be some kind of deformed, fucked up heroic spirit. If they say they saw one, it wasn't a dream, they just caught a glimpse of someone's memory. How the fuck is there a younger me in modern times? Wait, maybe Archer wasn't shocked by Saber, but he was shocked at seeing Shiro. Oh, that's also an interesting thought process, that it's not Saber that threw him off his game, that it's seeing Shiro that threw him off his game. That's certainly possible, given that he had amnesia, so he never fully recovered his memories. That is very much a possibility. Although we know from the one dream Shiro had of, it seemed like someone with Archer's voice, assumedly Archer himself, was talking to Saber in, Shiro's memory. But there could be some weird wimey-kimey time travel thing, because nobody knows who Archer is, even though Archer has these super awesome, amazing OP powers, so you think they'd know who he is. So I think the idea is that, I don't know, there's some weird thing going on where Archer, because of the time distillation that when Rin summoned him, I think he's actually a spirit from either the future or an alternate timeline of the past, where it is the past, but it's an alternate timeline, so no one knows about him, and that's somehow related to Shiro also being some weird deformity. It's a different type of deformity, but that's another way that Shiro and Archer relate, possibly. They just caught a glimpse of someone's memory. Yeah, it could be that in an alternate past, Archer, because he was in Saber's time, went on to be some big hero. Even though in this past, the regular past, Archer never became a noteworthy anybody. But in some alternate timeline, he did. And so we summoned him, like she summoned him from an alternate timeline? Archer got his ass kicked by Saber before Shiro even showed up. Well, I mean, sure, but it could have been a proximity thing. It could have been that Archer, like, you know, he felt it in his bones. He felt Shiro's presence in his bones. That you know, himself from another alternate continuity timeline future past was right nearby. That he got chills, you know, even if he hadn't seen him. He sensed his presence. Shiro was deformed, confirmed. I mean, that's obvious. You know, that's not even a theory. It's not a game theory, it's a game fact. They say they saw one, it wasn't a dream, they just caught a glimpse of someone's memory. Tosaka must have had the same experience. Eh? She says so with a coldness totally different from all her earlier cheerfulness. And so it's time to prepare dinner. Oh, that's it? We're not going to talk more about that? Jeez. Servants don't dream, huh? As far as we've seen, all of Shiro's dreams are memories. So yeah, I mean, I've had a few flashback dreams, but even when I have flashback dreams, they're generally they're alternate continuity flashback dreams. I very rarely just dream about a past event. Usually my dreams are big and interesting and fun, and I don't want to wake up because I want to keep dreaming. And even if they do involve past events, they're generally alternate takes on it. Like, what if this event went better and it wasn't as embarrassing for child me in school? That's a nice dream, that kind of thing. It's time to prepare dinner. Probs Archer told Rin that he saw some of her past, and that's what they meant that she went through the same thing. I mean, she didn't actually say that she went through the same thing. It's nothing major. But if they saw one, they caught a glimpse of someone's memory. Tosaka must have had the same experience. Based on how she's talking. So Archer had a dream of Saber because Archer was around in that time. That makes sense. They didn't really spell that out, but it was, makes sense. It's time to prepare dinner. All the things that happened in the past few days must have destroyed the cooking rotation. Yeah, because it was supposed to be you, Rin, or whatever. Now it's just all you, and that's fine. Also, Sakura, at some point, back when she was still here, for a week. Has it been a week yet? I don't know, man. It's been months, actually, out of universe, so... I'll leave dinner tonight to you. Looks like it's cold tonight, gonna be cold tonight again. So doesn't stew sound good? And Ely is here. But she tells me that as she leaves. Doesn't even give me a choice. Sakura at this point either dead or insane? Well, that's rude. We haven't seen her for a while, so there probably will be a big reveal of craziness or death, which would be so sad. Like, I feel like now that Berserker's dealt with, our first priority should be checking Sakura's mental health to see if she's okay and alive. God. Stew certainly seems to suit Ilya. Jeez. When I first started this game, like, my thought was that Sakura was best girl, and I still like Sakura a lot. But, like, you know, I mean, Ilya's new best girl, of course. But, I want to check on her to make sure she's okay. You know, even if she isn't at the top of the totem pole anymore. Maybe because of how she looks with the coat and the hat? What, because it feels very Russian? Anyway, I have no objections to making stew for dinner. I'm not that good at making Western food, but I shouldn't make any terrible mistakes with stew. Before that, it's a bit before 6. A bit before 6? There's still a bit of time until I need to start cooking. I'm sweaty, so I should take a bath. It's a bit of a hassle to take a bath before dinner, but since Tosaka and Saber take their baths after dinner, I'm forced to take it late. Gosh, everyone taking baths. I said this before, but I'm much more of a shower person. I don't really do the whole bath thing. Sakura is like the most healthiest girl for Shiro. I mean, yeah, if we ignore the whole dead sister, or the dead brother, and he maybe beat/raped her, which isn't the most healthy thing, then yeah, you're probably right. Just helping him have a normal life without feeding into his hero complex. She sort of does feed into his hero complex, though, because she's kind of the ideal damsel in distress for him, you could argue. Ilya sort of is okay with shoehorning herself into that role now, but she doesn't really need it. She even said earlier when he's like, I have to train so I can protect you. She's like, oh, thanks, but I don't need your protecting. I'm good enough. So there's that whole thing. The hallway is cold. The room is warm because of the heater, but I can feel the winter cold as soon as I emerge into the hallway. It seems that even though the weather should be warm, it's been a bit screwed up the past few days. Speaking of cold, I heard that it snowed. Oh shoot, that's kind of a rare thing in Japan. Oh boy. Ha ha ha. The weather should be warm. Is this like a thing? Is this like some kind of foreshadowing that somebody's using ice magic? Someone who has cold magic is like doing things or something. Like Castor is maybe a big cold magic person, and everything's becoming colder because of Castor's ice-based magic. Maybe. I heard that it snowed. I didn't notice, probably because it lasted less than an hour and there wasn't much. Well, if it did pile up, the yard would be full of snowman army, and I'd have to clean it up afterwards, so you could say I'm glad. Ilya and Rin have the problem of being magical people and having Shiro drawn towards that side of the world. Yeah. I mean, Ilya and Rin both have Shiro as sort of like an escape from their normal magic lives. They're very much yin and yang. Their normal magic lives where they don't have any other kids who are into magic to relate to, and now suddenly they do, and it's both Shiro. And even though they could now also get Rin, and they could get each other as kids to relate to, they would just be A, second helpings when they already got their first helping through Shiro, and your first helping is generally your best helping, but also B, from the romantic interest point, that they both seem to be straight and are both into Shiro, therefore it's both second helping in second friend department, and second helping in, well, I have my romantic interest department, and second helping in, I have my romantic interest, so back off other romantic interest for the same person who I'm interested in romantically. So you could say I'm glad. Of course, only one person would build a snowman army. I'm sorry, what? You mean Ilya? The day it snowed last year, I remember her standing in front of class with her hands red from frostbite. Oh, are we talking about Sakura? Is this going to be when we catch up with Sakura? Because, is she okay after her brother is dead and stuff? Dash? What? I was going to take a shower, but the bathroom is quite hot already. Oh god, we got a sex scene coming up. Someone's already in there. Is Ilya doing it? Oh shit, did Ilya wake up and take a bath? Are we going to see Ilya in the bath? Yes! Yashira Rin is purely straight. She has been sucking off Saber all the time. Okay, I think that's more of an intellectual interest. I guess it could be Taiga, I suppose, but it would be fitting if we weren't about to go into a sexy scene with Ilya, potentially. That's my guess. Or it could be Saber. Probably not Rin, since we just left Rin. If it was Sakura, I don't think we'd be moving straight into this. So you're probably right that it's Taiga with the whole comedy juxtaposition. I think Rin might be bi. I don't know. Rin seems straight, but she does have a thing for Saber, but I think that's more of an intellectual thing. It could be bi, I'm not judging, but she definitely has the thirsting for Shiro. I'm not sure if she has the thirsting for Saber to the same degree. Okay, so we're going to save real quick. Oh, shoot! More naked-ish fan service action. Okay, so I was going to take a shower, but the bathroom's quite hot already. Hot and steamy. Ooh, yes. Tell me more.
Shiro.
Yeah, it's fucking Saber. I thought for a second it might be Ilya, but then when I thought about it more, I'm like, no, it's probably Saber. That makes more sense to continue the awkward sexualness between us, because that does seem to be the route that we're on. The sound of water. As soon as my gaze moves to the bathtub. Oh, so before we saw her out of the bathtub, now we see her directly in the bathtub. Only Saber could be naked? No, I think Ilya could be naked. Oh, okay, what do you mean? Okay, first of all, adult waifu. Yeah, because she's like thousands of years old. It's, you know, if it's grody to see other girls naked, then it's just grody to think of Shira having a romance with Saber. So, you know, I think it's fine. Uh, nice. My head goes whiter than the steam. Yeah. All right. Nice. I like it. I like it. You know, the boobies are a little submerged by the water. It might be that she just has a bit of a flat chest, but I think the boobies are just kind of submerged by the water. I guess this was the logical next step. Last time we ran into her after she was, you know, drying off after the bath. And then we saw her just coming out of the room after changing clothes, and now we see her directly in the bath when things are the most romantically awkward between us. I guess this makes the most sense. Also, let's go ahead and, you know, save this to the spank bank for a little, bath time. The next scene would be both of them in the bath. Okay, I think that's a bit much. My head goes whiter than the steam. Old age doesn't matter if they look super young or hot. Okay, that's a little... I feel like there's a maturity level thing. That's a real debate to be had, though, the whole age thing. Also, hi, Monica the arms dealer again. You've been dealing some sufficient arms? Nandesu Nandato! I can't talk right since my throat is numb. Uh-oh. I can't move my body because I can't think. Ooh, this song. This feels different. What is this song? Oh, there's some bathtub droplets. Bathtub droplets. I guess it's just the bathtub song. 30-ish mentally from what we've seen so far. Yeah, she seems 30-ish mentally, even though she looks apparently 16 or whatever. But she's probably... It's different than being mentally 30-ish, though, because she cut her emotions kind of off while she was in her time or whatever. So even if she got to, like, 30-ish mentally, I think it was... She probably lived to be, like, 40 or 50, if I would have to guess. Or even older. Maybe she lived to be a fucking 100, and that's why the age killed her. I'm not sure exactly how long she made it to, but mentally she's like coming back to her emotions, and her emotions like never age to the point of adulthood, so it's just interesting to think about. I can't move my body because I can't think. I can't press forward in the text because I'm too busy taking in the fan service. Still, somewhere in my head I think that something like this happened before. She has her little thing on while in the bath? Interesting. She has her little tie thing on to keep her hair in a bundle. That's odd. I know when we saw her come out of like changing clothes or whatever that one time, she didn't have it on, but the fact that you wear that while you're bathing just seems odd to me. I feel like you generally remove all kind of clothing accessories, but maybe it's waterproof. Maybe she likes it that much. I mean, I like my hat a lot, but I still take it off when I'm, you know, bathing or all that jazz. No, it's not the same as before. She's fully nude in the water. No towel to be seen. Saber was baring her skin last time, but I was fully clothed. Oh, are you naked this time? Well, that's nice. This time it's completely different.
Saber.
Can we get some man service and see this from Saber's perspective? Ooh. My gasp echoes through the air. Well, I guess the only conclusion, if your clothes are already off, is to just come on in. What? I mean, after all, she's just a servant, right? She's not a real person. It should be okay. That might have been her thought process, you know. Before all the hormones came about and, you know, he took a trip to her dragon. Saber watches as I stand there dumbfounded. Well, clearly you just look like an idiot standing there. Just get in already. The blue cloth is a magical thing, since she wore it with the armor when Shiro first summoned her. First, you calling her an it? How dare you? Saber will get mad this time. I don't think she will. Even though she might, I think she's going to get a lot more embarrassed and nervous, but I don't think she'll get mad. She wouldn't have gotten mad last time, and I don't think she's emotionally the kind of person. She's not like Rin, who would get mad. I don't think. She'll just get extremely nervous, I would assume. Surely she'll get mad, and I think you want her to get mad because you want her to punish you, because there is some of that feeling you deserve to be punished and all that. She'll definitely get mad, but what if she doesn't get mad? As proof, her soft lips are trembling as if they will yell in the next moment. Her blue cloth is magical. So, I guess if it's magical, I guess it's waterproof. Still, though, she did take it off when she changed her clothes, though, so she doesn't have it on all the time. I mean, yeah, if she got really mad, she would summon her armor. If she really wanted him to not see her all naked and stuff, she could just summon her armor. So, you know, she's not doing that, so, you know.
すまん、悪かった。シャワーを使おうと思って、いや、こんな時間に誰か入っているとは思っていなかったんだけど、普通気がつくだろう、そんなことって言われるのはもっともなんだが。
Sorry, it was my fault. I tried to use the shower. I never thought someone would be using it this time. Well, it's normal for you to think I should have noticed beforehand, but, I give my excuses while backing up towards the dressing room. It's not like I'm fascinated by Saber. Yes, it is. It's exactly what it's like. It just feels like Saber will get madder if I run back to the dressing room. Well, of course, it'd be awkward to just end it like this before she even gets a word in. At least let her say something first. Wear armor in water? Are you mad? Well, it's magic armor, just like her magic cloth. It's magic armor. I'm pretty sure it's fine. If anything, she just doesn't wear it because it probably feels more comfortable not to wear it, but I don't think it would mess up the armor. Not because it's magic armor. In either case, I can't take my eyes off her. I mean, I would say it's kind of perverted, but since she can see you too, I think it's fine. You know, it's mutual perversion, so it's fine, right? I remember that night at the ruins. Huh? I recall the warmth of Saber, who was so close to me. Which night is this? Ruins. Which ruins? Oh, you mean when you went inside her dragon. Those ruins, right. Saber's body was frail and delicate. We shared our warmth and heartbeats. It wasn't the time for this back then. It is now! But now all of it makes me feel something that's hard to resist. I just want to jump on in that bath with her. Yup. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Yeah, trying to flee the situation before you do something you think you'll regret because she's not into you. But hey, guess what? She is into you. I reach behind me, searching for the door, and accidentally touch Rin's boob because she was coming in too. Oh, God. Then. Excuse me, Shiro. Excuse you? Okay, you're excused. Huh? It is a selfish request, but would it be possible for you to stay away for a while? Yeah, she doesn't get angry. She just got all embarrassed and frazzled. And I prefer this response. I prefer this to the angry throwing things response. That is a very polite way to say, please stay away, and I will comply. If someone gets angry, it just makes me get petty and want to perv more. What? Saber asks in a faint voice as she averts her gaze. And then Rin, being a tsundere, overreacts and kicks me all the way into the bath where Saber is. That is exactly something I could see happening. Oh my gosh, I can see it in my head. But yeah. Shiro, though, is going to get all the wrong message from this, though. To stay away for a while. The wrong message. Probably because he's going to think that, oh, she hates me or something. Like, I've ruined our relationship. But not quite. If it was Ilya, she'd be like, oh, it's okay. I don't mind if my Oni-chan sees me. Or she might be embarrassed for a bit, but then be like, no, it's okay, because it's you, Oni-chan. That really blanks my mind. Yeah, now that Saber has seen him naked, all of the thoughts that she'd been concealing have come to the forefront. And she doesn't know how to process being his servant. And knows that she needs to be, but she needs some time. So, I guess it's not going to be a good thing to jump straight into some battle, I suppose. So, if that's the case, maybe we should go to school. You know, since we're not going to be doing any good training for a little bit with her. Although, if we go to school, we won't be hanging out with Ilya. Unless she follows us, but that might get awkward. Why Saber won't get mad? You want her to get mad at you because you think you deserve to be gotten mad at because, you know, that's self-loathing and all that. You think you know... She's just not that kind of person to get mad, for one thing, but... Her embarrassed face makes all the blood go to my head.
なんて
Oh, why? There's also that aspect of if you feel like you've done something wrong, you want someone to get mad at you. Because if it's something wrong that you like, then you want someone to tell you not to do it, to you know, get mad at you, to prove that it was a bad thing, and that these good emotions you're feeling are outweighed by bad emotions. But if no one tells you, no, don't do it, then that enforces bad thoughts, so it sort of gets drilled into your head. Yes, please tell me not to do this. Why aren't you telling me not to do this? No, you're supposed to get mad at me. I'm liking this too much. There's that kind of thought process. I remember by reflex. Saber hangs her head even more in apology.
ですからシャワーを使うのはもう少し後にしてください。この場を一人で使うことを今だけは許してほしい。
Please use the shower at a later time. I wish for you to allow me to use this place by myself for now. You know, instead of us using it together, that might be a little weird. So polite. Saber curls up as if hiding her body. Well, that's one way to do it. Well, that suddenly makes me remember. When I met Saber in the dressing room last time, she didn't say anything. I'm pretty sure when you met her last time, she was just like, oh, it's fine, it doesn't matter. But that's because she wasn't horny back then. The sex of a servant is of no concern. She was the one who said that, with no concern for her appearance. Yeah, well, that was before you rode her dragon.
つまり待て頭がぐるぐるしててうまく言えないんだが
Well, hold on. My head is spinning and I can't quite make it work. Come on, work! Think, brain!
要するにセイバー怒ってないのか
So, you're not mad. Tell me you're mad. If you don't tell me you're mad, I'll want to do this more.
シローが体を洗うのは当然でしょう。私はそこまでマスターの行動を制限しません。
That is the right response. It is only natural for you to wash your body. I do not restrict my master's actions to that degree. It was just a mistake. No need to, you know, throw things at me over that. Freaking, you know. Just grumble, grumble. So there is grumble, grumble. Dash, dash. I understand. In other words, Saber thinks nothing of her appearance or whatever, or whether or not she is closed. I think she definitely thinks something of it now. That's why she's curling up and saying to not be here. If she thought nothing of it, she'd be like, I don't mind if you bathe with me. It's like, whatever. I'm just the servant, you're just the master, whatever. I know it might hurt your hormones, but it's only natural that I'm here. What? It's only natural that you're here? As the bath is a place to wash your body, it's natural for me to be here. I mean, yeah. Saber being here is also of no concern. If you start thinking that might get... that'd be funny if there was a switch where she's now concerned, but you're starting to get yourself unconcerned. It's like, yeah, I don't have to care. She's just a servant. That could get a little, ooh, spicy. Feeling when Saber, out of all the magical waifus, seems the least physically abusive. Out of all the magical waifus. Oh, you mean from, like, shonen action series and all that? Well, yeah, she's definitely the least abusive if we're talking about general waifus. But, I mean, there are other non-tsundere that came out around the time. But if we're talking about just this game, I think... If we're talking about just the magical ones, yes. Yes, just magical waifus. Because Sakura, assuming she's not magic, is also not that abusive. At least as far as I can tell. That's helpful, but I also think it's wrong.
けどなら今俺がシャワーを使ってもいいってことに
But then, that would mean I can use the shower right now. You know, if you were... That's funny. Before, Shiro was thirsty, but he wasn't this thirsty. Now he's this thirsty, and so he's kind of trying to play the game of, oh shoot, she said she's not mad, maybe I can get into the bath with her. But it's too late. He's made her thirsty. If he tried to take this action back when, you know, when he first interacted with her in the bathing, she probably would have been okay with it, but, you know, it's changed now.
ですからそれはその
She's trying not to get mad, but she's definitely not happy with that idea. I'm saying that,
見られることは問題ではないのです。ただ私の体は凛のように少女のものではありませ
the
ん。
problem is not being seen, but my body is not like that of a girl such as Rin. Oh, now you're dodging the problem. You're dodging the issue of not wanting to be seen by him, to be like, I don't have a really, you know, you have a nice body. What are you talking about? Even if you have, like, a flat chest, I can't even tell, but even if you did, still a nice body. My body is not like that of a girl such as Rin. You're deflecting, because you think, you know, Rin is more of an attractive figure, so you're like, you'd probably like her more. You might partially think that's true, but it's also definitely a deflection. Which, yeah, there's some insecurity there, but, which, it only makes sense. She had to pretend to be a boy. She had to convince herself that there's no worth to her femininity. She's just a boy, so she should just ignore the femininity part. So now when she finally is acknowledging it, because Shiro's forcing her to acknowledge it, she's like, I mean, okay, maybe I do have femininity, but it's not as good as Rin's.
ですから
So, Saber blushes even more and finishes with difficulty. So, again, it's this idea of Saber being like Shiro, where Shiro really likes Saber, but doesn't think, you know, he likes all the girls to an extent, he's thirsty, but he doesn't think he's worthy for any of them because he thinks he's kind of shit. Saber has a similar thought, where she doesn't think her femininity is worth enough, so she thinks, yes, she likes Shiro, but Shiro would never actually like her. You know, she's not, you know, she's, even if she is a girl, she's not a very good at being a girl. She's much better at being a fighter. So she doesn't want him to notice her in her girl form now that she's noticing her girl form herself because he brought that up. So there's that whole aspect. Whereas before she only thought of herself as a fighter. Now she is thinking of herself as a girl, just that she's not that good at being a girl and doesn't want Shiro's opinion of Saber to lessen as a result of seeing her as a girl, which she views herself as inferior as, and just wants him to see her as a fighter. Because that will make him seeing her in a better light. Saber has both the thoughts of, I'm a servant, and I'm not attractive. I think most people would agree she's a pretty attractive waifu.
シロにはあまり見てほしくない。このように筋肉のついた体では殿方には見苦しいでしょう。
I do not want you to look at me. Such a muscular body must appear unsightly to men. Oh yeah, because you're so fit. You probably got a lot of muscles. That's fine. Also, if that is true, it does not appear that way from the artwork. If you were meant to be a very muscly girl, it definitely doesn't look that way at all from the artwork. She says that. Dash, dash. I almost faint for a bunch of different reasons.
バカ、そんなこと。
That's stupid. Don't be ridiculous. Saber's body is not unsightly. She's a golden god. That's right. Since you first laid eyes on her, she was like the most beautiful thing you'd ever seen. So her saying that just, you know, makes you hate yourself a little bit. But I mean, you want to hate yourself a little bit. But you don't want to hate Saber. You don't want to, like, Saber's like the best thing in your life or whatever. Yes, you like her, but it doesn't mean it's wrong to like her, even if you are a shitty person. She doesn't put herself down. Or whatever. Something, something. She claims her body is rugged, but I was never worried about that. She just has a pretty face and a nice attitude. Of course her body is trained compared to Tosaka's, but still, I think Saber's body is really feminine. And I can say that now that I've seen it quite clearly. Also, yeah, it's very feminine. Like, I mean, you know, there's not, like, crazy amounts of muscles like you might expect, which there might have been if she had, you know, been able to grow up properly as King Arthur, but because she got her fairy sword, that stopped her aging. Maybe it also stopped her body's development in the sense that she never developed the muscles that she theoretically should have. Maybe the interior still developed the muscles, but the exterior didn't? Ever Scene did mention that Shiro won't forget the look of Saber when he first summoned. Uh-huh.
シロ、そういう理由だから
Shiro,
一人にしてほしいのです
so I wish for you to leave me alone for now. Dash, 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 dash. I don't know how I answered. All I can remember is that I nodded and shut the door. Well, that happened. And so the day ends. Uh-huh. Normal end of the day. We had dinner at some point, I guess. Dinner was exciting. Was it? Ilya spoke more and more at each meal of the day, and she had a weird relationship with Tosaka where I couldn't tell whether they were friendly or fighting. Frenemies, of course. They're obviously frenemies. They're the yin-yang, so they get along because they realize they're similar, but the differences they do have make them fight a lot. So Ilya was awake for dinner. So is having a nap just before dinner normal for her, or is she still exhausted from the other day's events with Berserker? A pretty normal day compared to the last few. Yeah, with all the fighting, this one with just, some fan service was pretty normal. Saber is more approving of Ilya, but she must not have let her guard down as she frowns every time Ilya comes near me. She's more approving of Ilya as a person. She's just disapproving of me and Ilya as a couple, because she wants to be a couple with me, even if she won't admit it yet. Dash, 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 dash. The past few days were too wild. A normal day like this is unsettling for me. You want more action. You're afraid that getting a day this normal is just going to mean that the next day is going to be more wild than ever. You have a dream? A dream that's not a dream? A dream that's a flashback? Oh, fuck. Did you... Really? I go out to the yard quietly. This time, you don't have Archer watching over you in the yard. What about Saber, though? She doesn't need to sleep anymore, right? Now that she has magical energy, her sleeping would give her more, but she doesn't need to. So I guess she could watch over me, but you really need to tell people when you're going to go out to some random place, just in case Assassin comes in through the barrier and snipes you, or Caster or something. If that's... I mean, you just don't ignore the theoretical possibility, is what I'm saying. It's a bit before midnight. Under the cold moonlight, I walk, leaving traces of white breath behind me. And before I realize it, I'm doing my daily routine. Okay. You mean your nightly routine. I'm being taught by Tosaka, so there's no need for me to train here now. But you're not being taught by Tosaka. She just said she's done teaching you. Still, I sit on the cold ground and check the thing within me. You mean the thing that Tosaka turned your switch on, or do you mean you're going to attempt to do Caliburn, or what do you mean? It's not that I feel uneasy about my skills. Yes, you fucking do! This is just a jinx. A what? I've been doing this for years now, so it doesn't feel right unless I finish my day here. Unless you do the thing you don't need to do anymore? Okay, I can understand that. You do something so long, it's such a tradition that even when you're told, oh, that you're doing it wrong the whole time, you don't have to do that anymore. You just feel wrong not doing it. It feels like... I completely understand that.
Torres. Oh.
English. Oh. Well, today's training is more heated up than usual. Tosaka told me not to use it, but I can't obediently agree with her. Thank you! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have to... Okay, I was wondering if Rin telling you not to use it would impact your self-loathing, and you're like, she's right, she told me not to use it, she's probably right, I can't use it. I'm glad that he is disagreeing with that, because Archer drilled into him, you have to beat yourself, and to beat himself, he's got to keep, making better Caliburns than he made that time. He can't do that if he just stops doing projection. So I'm glad that probably his want to protect and fight with Saber, and his best way of doing that is by summoning Caliburns and other things, is outweighing what Rin told him. Because I do think that this isn't... maybe you choosing the projection question choice allowed him to do this. Very possibly. Maybe if we didn't, he wouldn't be so focused on continuing the projection. It's nice to think things like that. Good, good, good. I think he should still keep using this. If I can make this projection thing mine, it'll be a powerful weapon, and I'll be able to help Saber better. Exactly. His feelings for helping Saber outweigh his feelings for his trust for Rin. Even though he does have some romantic thoughts about Rin, his romantic thoughts for Saber definitely will far outweigh that, especially after that scene just now. So, What better way to spend your time not being near Saber when she tells you not to be near her than to practice a thing that can help her when she does let you be near her again? Makes sense. Besides, I still have that heat in my body. You mean the hormones or something else? The night at the ruin. Oh, the hormones. Oh, no? The battle in the forest filled with morning mist. The golden sword I made. Okay. That's right, because he started, there was some red text, like there was some inner demon in him coming out as he made that sword. The inner Holy Spirit inside of him. Maybe he's like an evil Holy Spirit, and that's where the anger issues come from. And that's where the red text comes from. Maybe the reason that him trying to be a hero isn't really working out is because he's secretly like, the Holy Spirit he's based on is actually kind of villainous. And so him being a hero would never give him the satisfaction he wants. And that's also why when Kirei said what you really want is an enemy to fight against, like you want a villain to beat and a damsel to save, that's kind of a selfish thing to want. Kind of, maybe not totally villainish, but a little villainish. So maybe there's like a villain, angry, angsty villain locked inside of him. And so him trying to be a hero isn't really working, and what he really wants is arch enemies to fight. But it doesn't really matter if the arch enemies are actually bad. Maybe it does on, Shiro on the surface it does, but deep down he's like, I just want someone that I can beat by proving that I'm good and stuff. There's that process, thought process. Laugh, this heroic spirit that he's based on was the person who fatally wounded King Arthur. That'd be interesting. I know it's supposed to be Morgana, at least in the legend, that killed him or whatever, but I guess that might not be what it was in actual reality. It's kind of confusing, the two things, but... The remaining heat is still in my hands, and my heart wishes it to start burning again when I try again. Creation concept. Analyze. Reproducing it is easy. My mind was jumbled up back then because I was so desperate, but I can perform only the steps I need now. No. From the beginning, there was only one to guide Emiyashiro. What, you mean Archer? The pronunciation is the same. Pronunciation? Are you talking about Kiritsugu? What do you mean? Just change the self's recognition, and it'll become an original spell. I'm sorry, what? What now? Who now? What? My mind was jumbled up back then because I was desperate, but I can perform only the steps I need now, as opposed to doing steps you don't need. Only one to guide Emiyashiro. The pronunciation is the name. I don't know what you mean by that. Just change the self's recognition and it'll become the original spell. Basic structure. Analyze. I understand how dangerous it is without needing for Tosaka to tell me. But he always knew it was dangerous to switch on every night anyways. He did it every night, even though he knew there was a chance he could kill him and he could never go on to be a hero. But it never killed him, maybe because of his Wolverine powers, and he never realized that's why it never killed him, possibly. As a magus, Emiyashiro must not associate himself with projection. So what, you're just going to give it a different name? Like Swordbirth! An interesting thought is that if there is some evil hero sealed inside him, maybe if there's some hero sealed inside Shiro that there's this disconnect, the reason why he's so bad at magic normally is because he's not actually using his own magic. He's drawing on someone else's magic, or the Shiro magic he is using is leaving out that someone else's magic, and that magic is not enough for him to do anything special. But the projection is the specialty of this person within him's magic, so it's like really easy to just draw on it, even if he shouldn't be able to. Even if projection is a really crazy magic that he shouldn't be good enough to do, the person inside of him specializes at sword magic or whatever, and so he can do it easily even if everything else is super hard, and it should be super hard and it's super easy. Something. It's something that's beyond me. A venture beyond one's capabilities will eventually be paid for by death. All cut. Clear. Zero. I erased the blueprint I was drawing. No, it looked like such a pretty blueprint. On the other side of the door. Huh? As if hiding the blue moon, Saber approaches. Oh, fuck. She said to stay away for a while. And it clearly wasn't that... I guess by a while, I thought she might mean a couple days when she said a while. Okay, I think this is like one of the first times, if not the first time, she's ever approached me while I was doing this. Like, I've been sneaking off a lot. But in the past, she always had to conserve her energy and sleep. Now she doesn't actually need to sleep, so it makes sense that she'd be wondering where the heck I am. Feels like this projection fits with Shiro as a person, because his whole thing at the very beginning was how good of a mechanic he was. It does fit with Shiro, that's true, but, you know, there's something more to it about how his regular magic can't do a dang thing. It's more than just he's a mechanic, I'm pretty sure.
よかった。ここにいたのですね、シロ。姿が見えないので何かあったのかと。
There was one time where Saber found me here at night, and she, said, it's okay, just make sure you tell me about it. And I don't know if he ever went on to tell her about it, other than he just does it normally sometimes, and that she should just recognize that, but... Good, you are here. I thought something might have happened as I could not find you.
いや、別に何があったわけじゃない。寝つけないから頭の体操をしていただけだ。
No,
一通りこなしたら部屋に戻るから。
nothing's
心配はいら
wrong.
ない。
I couldn't sleep, so I was exercising my head. I'll go back to the room once I'm done, so you don't need to worry.
そうですか。ならいいのですが。
I see. That is good then. Saying so, she looks at me. Uh-huh, and I look at her. It's impossible to hide as my face is all sweaty as always.
ああ、これもいつものことだから気にしないでくれ。
Yeah, this is the same as always too, so don't worry about it.
魔術の練習なんて魔術師として当然のたしなみだろ。
Magic training is natural for a magus, right?
いや、まあ半人前なんで失敗はつきものなんだけど。
Well, I'm inexperienced, so I make a lot of mistakes. I wipe the sweat off my forehead.
お、
I'm surprised. By what? The sweat I wiped off is ice cold. Oh, fuck. Is this related to Castor's magicy wagicky? Or is it the magic inside of you? Probably Castor's magicy wagicky. I thought it was cold, but was it this cold in the shed? I think it's Castor. More and more, they're building up this cold thing.
シロ、一日も欠かさずそれを。
Shiro, you've been doing this every day? I think we talked to you about that. Didn't we? Didn't Saber approach me at one point? And I was like, yeah, I kind of do this a lot. But then again, I think she did say that's fine so long as you tell her. And I don't think you ever really tell her.
いや、まあできる限りは。親父に言われた日課だし、これぐらいはやらないと。
Well, as much as I can. It's a daily routine Father told me to do, so I have to do at least this much. Although, this time you're kind of cheating a bit, because this time you're going to be focusing more on the sword birth aspect, I assume. Replying, I regret that I'm bluffing. Aha, you are bluffing! So you're saying that you're just doing the thing Father told you to do, but that's actually your excuse so you can practice sword birthing. That this is my daily routine. I wanted to boast to Saber by saying that. I mean, it was. You did do it daily, but what you did was kind of laughable because it never really succeeded in the past, if that's what you mean by bluffing. The training at the end of the day is certainly no trouble for me. But it was never easy for me either. Ellipses. Saber doesn't say anything. Behind her is the moon. Slanting rays of light enter the shed covered in blue darkness. This is like a reproduction of the night I met her. I was starting to actually think that too.
セイバー、遠坂が言ってたことなんだけど。
Saber, Tosaka said something. As soon as I think this is like watching a dream. Uh-huh. Spirits don't dream.
サーバントは夢を見ないっていうのは。
Is it true that servants don't dream? Without realizing, I asked her that question. Oh shit, is this gonna be some big revelation?
ええ、私たちは夢を見ない。もともと幽体であるサーバントは眠りません。
No, we do not have dreams. As we are spiritual, we do not sleep. You just kind of rest and recover power.
私は幽体化ができないため眠らざるを得ませんが、
I have to
それでも
sleep
夢を見れません。
because I cannot go into spiritual form, but even I cannot dream. Huh, you can't go into spiritual form despite the magic connection being made. It's interesting, because in Fate Zero she couldn't go into spirit form either, because I think Kiritsugu was very specialized magus and didn't have the right magical power to make her go into spirit form. But then it's the same thing with Shiro, even though Shiro couldn't even supply her with any magic at first. It just feels like interesting that they keep up this quirk twice in a row. Even it's interesting. Like, she can't go back into her Pokeball, but this gives an excuse to interact with her more, I suppose, when you wouldn't necessarily have to. But, it's just interesting to think of.
でも朝は見たって。
This morning you said you did. Ellipses. A small silence. Oh, fuck. She closes her eyes once as if she's determined.
私が見たものはあなたの夢です。
Oh, fuck. What I saw was your dream, Shiro. But the Shiro dream? Cause like, Shiro only has memories so far from what we've seen, right? So you saw me in the fire, is that right? Because I was seeing some of your past, too. That's a very heroic spirit thing to do, right? If you can see my past, maybe I can see your past through dreams. Or something.
マスターとサーバントは精神的にもつながっている。結びつきが強くなれば、相手の過去を垣間見ることもあるでしょう。
Well, never mind, apparently it's normal. Master and servant are mentally connected as well. If our connection becomes stronger, things like seeing the other's past might start to occur. Yeah, connection becomes stronger, romance becomes harder.
夢に見たって。俺の過去か。
Dream, you mean my past? Was it before the fire? Did you see anything before the fire? Because I'm starting more and more to think Shiro didn't even exist before that fire. He was spat out by the Grail in some weird, incomplete, heroic spirit form. Became a child. He didn't even have parents before that. He just thinks he does. Like, or the parents he's thinking of, or the parents he had as a kid, back when he was the heroic spirit, back when he was actually alive. As a kid, his parents is the parents he's loosely thinking of.
はい。あなたの心に踏み入る行為だとは分かっていたのですが、私には拒むことができなかった。
Rin and Archer see each other's dreams? What would Rin's dream even be? To bang Shiro? Or to do a good fight? And Archer's dream, get his memory back? Or if his memory is back, wish things were less cynical than they are? Which might mean that there's a fitting way for him to end his life, where, sacrificing himself for other people, and that's, a very, honorable, not cynical thing to do. I knew it was a deed that steps into your mind, but I could not refuse it, because I'm so horny.
それをどうか許してください。
Also, it's kind of hard to control dreams a lot of the time. Please forgive me, Shiro. Baka! That goes for me as well. Saber's past. I've seen the days before she became a servant many times.
バカ、そんなのセイバーのせいじゃないだろう。
Idiot, that's not your fault.
仕方がないじゃないか。
You can't help it if you dream about it.
それに、謝るのはこっちの方だ。
Besides, I'm the one who should be apologizing.
俺の昔なんてつまんないことばかりだろ。そんなもん見せられたら、おちおち眠ってられやしない。
I only did boring, uninteresting stuff when I was small, right? Do you even remember that stuff very well? You never talk about it. You can't sleep peacefully if you have dreams like that.
いえ、夢を見たのは今朝だけです。それも最近のことではありませんから、シロの男性としてのプライベートを侵害するようなことは決してありません。
That is interesting to me. I only dreamt this morning. It was not a recent event, so it does not invade your privacy as a man. You didn't see his, his wang? So this was your first time dreaming one of his memories. Not a recent event. Something from a while ago. Before the fire? Because that is a big wiggy. We barely know anything about before the fire from what Shiro's told us. He's never even referred to his old parents as mom and dad individually. Only ever as parents. He calls Kiritsugu his dad. When he says, oh, my dad's dead, he means Kiritsugu. He would never say, oh, my dad's dead, and refer to his other older dad. He doesn't even think about it. So, when you say a long time ago, is that what you mean? Because hoity-toity, I would like to know what you saw. Saber comments honestly. But private? Well, I've done ordinary stupid things, but...
それは助かるけど、最近のことじゃないって。
Ooh, this could be juicy.
じゃあ、いつ頃のことなんだ？
That's good. You say it wasn't recent, so when was it from?
大きな火事でした。私が見たものは
Ah,
その
boring.
光景だけです。
That's the part I already knew. I was hoping you could go before that. Jeez. It was a large fire. That was the only scene I saw. Okay, it was just a boring old fire. I was hoping it would be an interesting thing like I saw before the fire, where you were actually some kind of prince in an ancient land, or... No, it'd be too early for a revelation like that, I guess. I don't know. They'd have to build that up a little bit. Which, I mean, I feel like at this point they have been building it up, but it'd be kind of a weird place to drop that now. It was a large fire. That was the only scene I saw. Uh-huh, I've seen that scene as well in my dreams. A quiet voice. Did you ever actually see that fire? Because I know she kind of sort of caused that fire, but I'm not sure if she got a chance to actually see it before she was whisked away into the Grail, or whatever. Her gentle eyes tell me what she saw. I see. Huh? Dreamt about that. What was that image just now? Where there was like a black fork with like a purple... What the frick was that like? Was that meant to be like some kind of big Grail like poople that you saw? Because that's not a normal... Like there was like a purple... Mystery of Shiro's past to be revealed in a hypothetical golden ending. Possibly. Probably. It might not have to be a golden ending, but it would probably happen towards the end of some route. Or in the middle of, like, a golden route.
そうか。それはなんていうか。
I see. That's, should I say unfortunate? It's like going to a movie theater to go see a movie you know, but going into the wrong theater and seeing something completely different. I suppose, but that something completely different could be good anyways. And the movie that you were gonna see, maybe you thought it'd be good, but it could have been bad. So by seeing something you didn't know, less likely to be let down, more likely to be pleasantly surprised. Uh-huh, that was a very weird black thing we never saw in all the other dreams. That is interesting to think about. That is, I think, some foreshadowing to what the foople is going on with Shiro and why he's so weird. Possibly. Fascinating. Oh man, he saw some big weird thing. Was that the Grail? The Grail doing some kerfuffling? Cheese and crackers. How much happened back in Fate Zero time that we didn't actually see, that Fate Zero didn't actually spoil? That is going to be revealed in this game. I am excited. Because that is definitely something that wasn't shown in Fate Zero. Shiro seems to be repressing the black thing if he never dreamed that before. Uh-huh. It's like he saw it for an instant, and then it faded to black immediately, as if he didn't want to think about it. Yeah, repressing, indeed. Like repressing the fact that his...
それでわかりました。いいえ、前から思ってはいたのです。
That made me
あな
understand.
たにはひどく危ういところがあ
No,
ると。
I thought it before as well. You have a dangerous side to you. Well, they do say ladies like the bad boys, but yeah. I got the fire in my past. I have anger issues. There's definitely some danger in me.
危ういところってなんだよ。そりゃセイバーから見れば至るところは危なげだろうけど。
What do you mean by dangerous? I'm sure all aspects of me look dangerous in your view. And there's also your whole death-seeking thing.
そんな意味ではありません。
That's not what I meant.
あなたはシローは私と似ています。だからあなたの間違いもわかる。
Oh fuck.
このまま進めばどうなってしまうかも同じだから分かってしまう。
Shiro, you are like me. That is why I can tell you what you have done wrong. Well, what has he done wrong? Oh fuck. As I am the same, I can tell what will happen if you continue on like this. Oh no. What'll happen? And which part of me is continuing on in the wrong fashion? I mean, I think there are so many flaws with Shiro. You have to, like, tell me which one you're talking about.
いや、間違ってなんかないけどな。
But I haven't done anything wrong. Where do I begin, Shiro? Where do you want me to begin? So many things.
そりゃ失敗は数えきれないけど、俺は 親父みたいな正義の味方になるんだ。間違ったことなんてできないだろう。
My mistakes are countless, of course, but I'm gonna become a superhero like my father. I can't do anything wrong. You can't? You can't do anything wrong because you're gonna be a hero, therefore all of your misdeeds are irrelevant? That sounds like a villainous thing to say. As if the villain in you is poking its head out. Gonna become a superhero like your dad, huh? Yeah, I've looked into that. I mean, I've analyzed that in the past. I don't think he's actually, you know, at all interested in becoming a real superhero. And that he's trying to avoid what the truth would be like if he actually did become a real superhero. That's why he's doing stupid stuff, like training here constantly, even though that's not going to lead to anything. Because he can pretend like it'll lead to something, and avoid the truth of what it would really lead to, because he believes that it won't be anything special, and he keeps wanting to avoid the truth. Wrong morally? I suppose he hasn't done anything wrong morally, but that doesn't mean he hasn't done anything wrong. That depends on what you consider right and wrong.
だからそれが間違いなのです。
I'm saying that is the wrongdoing. Thinking you've done nothing wrong? Oh, like how Saber became a king and became complacent and thought she was doing everything right, and when people disagreed with her, there was a big rebellion, and she was like, what the fuck? Because she thought she was doing everything the best. Thinking you're doing things right may cause several problems.
シロ、あの事故はあなたのせいでもないし、その責任はあなたが負うべきものでもない。
Shiro, that accident was not your fault. It is not something you can be held responsible for. Huh. If Shiro... That's an interesting thought process. Shiro thinks that accident is his fault because he survived and no one else did. That he thinks it wasn't right, that he should have died in place of whoever because he's a nobody. I mean, it seems wrong for him to blame himself when, I mean, if anything, it was Saber or Kiritsugu who's at fault. But,
あなたには償うべきものなどないのです。
There's nothing for you to make up for. Maybe not in that instance. I think he's done a lot of things that he could make up for. Not related to the fire, sure, but... So what? He keeps trying to get over the fact that he survived that fire, but he doesn't think he deserved to survive that fire. He thinks that, and so he's trying to make use of the fact that Kiritsugu saved him. Shiro, it's actually my fault. Sorry I killed your family. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, to be fair, Kiritsugu was the one who triggered the command spell or all that. But, nothing for you to make up for. And you think that this is the thing that Shiro needs to hear to make him stop being a Death Seeker? I guess. As if he thought that he shouldn't have lived through that fire. As if, you know, living through that fire means he has to do something super amazing with this life that he has to make up for the fact that Kiritsugu chose Shiro when Kiritsugu said he specifically chose one person. He could have saved other people, but he ended up going with Shiro. Shiro, that's a big responsibility, and he wants to make sure he fulfills that in some way and doesn't waste it, but he doesn't think he's worth it. He thinks someone else would have been better, and so he keeps going, trying to do crazy things to do some kind of save somebody somehow. Even if it risks his life, because he feels like he's living on borrowed time anyways, but he doesn't have to think that way. He doesn't owe Kiritsugu for saving him. He doesn't, or if he did, he's long since paid him back. He doesn't owe the other people who died in the fire just because he lived. I suppose that's, I think it's wrong to say that, I mean, maybe he does think of it as his fault. That'd be really weird. I think it's wrong to blame himself for living over other people living. The black thing wasn't in there that time. Of course. It was only an accident. I was only a victim. You're saying that in your monologue, but does your subconscious agree? Well, certainly there have been times when I felt guilty about being the only survivor. There it is! That's exactly the thing! Guilty about being the only survivor. And she probably thinks you're way too guilty about that. The weight of both being the only alive from the fire and seeing everyone else dead and then seeing his father's last words being passing his dream to him. Suicidal maniac. You know, he didn't deserve to live, but also he has to do something with his shitty life that Kiritsugu has passed on to him. And, you know.
以前リンが言っていました。シロウの自己犠牲と献身ぶりは異常だと。それは私も同感です。
Rin said so before that your self-sacrifice and devotion are abnormal. I feel the same way. It's easy to be selfless when you think that yourself isn't very good.
あなたは自らの命を代価として人を助けようとするのではない。
You do not try to save others at the cost of your life. You try to run into situations where it might cost you your life because that's what you want? Is that what you're saying?
あなたは単に初めから自分の命が感情に入っていないのではないですか。
You simply do not consider your own life at all. Yeah, it's rather hypocritical though, because if he wants to live to be a hero, he can't exactly do that if he's dead. But I think I analyzed that in the past too, the idea that he doesn't want it to he doesn't want the realization to come to him that he'll never have that same feeling of heroism, because that's what he wanted. He doesn't actually want to save people. He wants that feeling of, oh yeah, saving people is great. But he's already kind of saved a couple people and still hasn't gotten that right feeling. And now he's afraid he'll never get that feeling. So he'd rather die heroically than realize that, yeah, he just doesn't, you know, being a hero, that he doesn't enjoy it at all. Man, yep, there was the Flash of the Black thing again. We saw the fights, like with Saber and Berserker, Saber and Ryder, we saw those fights, and that was sort of Saber's, how Saber doesn't think about herself and just thinks about, you know, all that, which makes sense, because that's a thing for a king to think. It's you know, the king has to think, I have to put my people first, my life does not matter, it's just the life of my country. That is what Saber, you know, would think. So I guess that's what you mean by we're the same, that's very fair. And so Shiro was thinking along the same lines of, I have to be the superhero, I have to be the king, as it were, in the sense of saving people, the modern day version of the king, the superhero. But that flashback to that black thing, is that saying that had to do with Saber, or was that just Shiro having that flash of that? Fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. Doesn't realize his heroism is fueled by his want of a good death. Or he doesn't want to realize that his heroism is pointless, and so he wants just to have a good heroic death to never have to come to the unfortunate realization that he just doesn't care for being a hero, and that doesn't give him any joy in his life. That's right, he has like no real joy in his life, and he just wanted to get that. He saw Kiritsugu was so happy, and he wanted to capture that and get that too. And he thought, well, Kiritsugu was that happy saving people, because Kiritsugu actually likes saving people. Shiro keeps being more morally correct, because he thinks he has to be, to get that satisfaction, but it never comes. Possibly because his inner person is more of a bad person, if he is some spat out thing from the Grail abomination that was based on a morally gray holy spirit or something. And so his inner person isn't a good person, but he's trying to be a good person because he has no joy. But the reality might be his joy comes from being a bad person that he just is forgetting about because he was a spirit that was spat out by the Grail, and so his memories got warped, potentially. Dash, 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 dash. Did my pupils open wide? Oh gosh. Somehow I cannot see Saber's face clearly. Just having all those flashbacks to all those moments where you went in not even thinking about your own safety.
あの事故を忘れることはあなたにはできないでしょう。ですが、覚えている限りシロは変わらない。それは苦しいのではないですか。
You will not be able to forget about that accident, but you cannot change as long as you remember it. Is that not painful for you? I mean, forgetting it could be considered a bit of cowardice, but accepting that it wasn't his fault is definitely an important step. Accepting that he's allowed to live, accepting that it wasn't an accident that he was saved from the fire, and that he can continue living a life, that it's not some borrowed time. he's allowed to keep living, it was not a mistake that he was saved, then yes, that is an important thing for him to accept. But he does not necessarily forget the fire. It's still fine to use it as a motivation, just as long as he's using it for correct motivation.
苦しい俺が
Painful? Me? Well, of course it's painful. Saber doesn't need to tell me that. I mean, sure. It's only natural. So many people died and it was such hell. That's not what she means. I think it's only natural for it to be painful. Yeah. Besides, if it weren't, it might all be meaningless. It can't be meaningless. There has to be meaning. Me living and everyone else dying has to have meaning. I have to give meaning. Or maybe die trying if I can never get meaning. Maybe I should just die because finding that meaning is so hard. There is no meaning. Then maybe I should just die. Yeah, it certainly is painful to remember it. But it's already over. It's not something I can do anything about now. Liar. The Grail grants wishes. Kirei joked about wishing for a supervillain or a damsel to save, because that's what you want, to be a hero. But if he really wanted to be a hero, he could wish on something like world peace, or, you know, stop all illnesses, or go back in time and fix the thing he says he can't fix. He's not even thinking about this wish, because I think subconsciously he just wants to die in this war and get it over with. He's afraid to get a wish, to get all that power to actually do something. He's been hiding from being able to do something, and now when given the chance to actually do something good with this wish, he doesn't even think about it. He doesn't want to think about it, because he's afraid that he'll do it. He'll get to do something great that makes him a hero, and then feel nothing, and feel like everything was meaningless. And he doesn't want that realization to come, so he's not even thinking about it. On some level. You can certainly see this type of attitude transforming into an Archer type of attitude if he realizes the truth in the wrong way. Yeah, and becomes more cynical because, you know, life is fucking fucked. That's basically where Archer ended up, sure. He could also turn into a bit of a super villain at some point, honestly, if he really does, even ignoring the theory that he's based on some villainous hero from the past. He could turn into a super villain, honestly, if he gets to the point of realizing that he does not like saving people, and if nothing matters, why not just fucking kill everyone, because maybe that I actually get joy from. And if I get joy from it, then sure, whatever. You know, if nothing else matters, if everyone else can just die like they did in the fire, but I can keep living, then maybe it's okay for me to just kill everyone and get some joy out of it or something. Could turn to a saber and just kill all emotions at once. That's also a very possible option, just kill his emotions. It feels like he's trying to find emotions to have, though. Like, he wants to have that joy, which he has very little of, and he thinks being the hero will give him that joy. So it's almost like he's trying to find the emotions he doesn't have. In a similar arc to Kirei, you could say. Kirei's ultimate answer was basically just to fuck with people, and that he enjoyed doing that. So, you know, if Shiro comes to the same conclusion, that would make him a bit of a villain. Saber doesn't answer. She scratches her arm, irritated. Maybe the thing is that Saber sees Shiro in herself because she hasn't related to people in a long time, and so she sees Shiro who's kind of like her, and she's like, oh, your thing is like me, you're going down this path. But it could be that, in reality, Shiro, and in fact, Archer saw Shiro in him, and that Shiro is going to become a more cynical person like Archer. But if I had to peg my guess of where Shiro would head if nothing changes about his character, I would honestly argue he'd end in the Kirei direction of not really being sure how to find the fun, and just giving in and being a villain because, hey, that's fun. I want some kind of fun. There's no other fun. Fuck it. I need to obtain the Holy Grail. Uh-huh. See, that's the difference. Shiro, you say that you're the same as Shiro. But maybe what you're saying is that this is something he should develop towards, having a wish, possibly. But Shiro's been avoiding the thought of having a wish at all. He just wants to do it so that he wants to avoid any bloody battle from happening. He doesn't want an incident like the fire to occur. Because he doesn't want to be the only survivor of a war like this again. He wants to stop all the bloodshed, but he hasn't thought at all about what the wish could be, because the wish could do so much fucking shit. If Shiro did summon Zero Archer, he could certainly definitely end up like Kirei. Oh, yeah. I need to obtain the Holy Grail. I think an argument could be made that if, I mean, Kirei's assassin back in Fate Zero didn't have too much of a character, at least in the anime. Not that there was nothing, just it wasn't, you know, a big personality. If he ended up with the Saber type, maybe that could have course corrected him into being something better. I'd argue that there's the strongest parallel at all might actually be between Shiro and Kirei, even despite these fake parallels, because if watching this, theoretically, you haven't seen Fate Zero yet. So, maybe the idea is that there's these fake parallels from Shiro to Saber and Shiro to Archer, but in reality, Shiro actually might be most like Kirei, but you don't actually realize that yet, theoretically, because you haven't seen Fate Zero. That could be the idea. I need to obtain the Holy Grail.
けれど、それはシロウにも当てはまる。
But it's the same for you as well. You say that, but he hasn't actually said anything about it. Maybe that's the idea, is that he keeps dreaming about it because that's what the wish is making him think, that I can go back in time if I get the Grail. But, like, maybe that wish is too childish to go back in time and fix things. You should focus on the future, possibly? That's sort of what they said in the scene in Fate Zero when Saber was talking to, I believe it was Archer and Ryder who were there. And they were basically saying, yeah, focus on the future, fuck the past. And she's like, I have to fix my mistakes. I have to go back and stop my kingdom from going to ruin or whatever. And if that's the case, then that might be exactly the same wish as Shiro has. So, it might be that you're still making mistakes, as it were. Maybe the true final boss of the true route is a Shiro who realized the truth. Oh, maybe like a Shiro from an alternate timeline who became a supervillain. Shiro's biggest enemy is himself. That would be fitting with what Archer said about how the biggest obstacle you need to overcome is yourself. So it would be fitting if... I know what he meant was that, you know, you need to do better than your shitty self. Become a good self who's better than your shitty self. But it could be there's actually some alternate timeline evil version that Shiro needs to face off against to, you know... and that would make him the real superhero, possibly. It's the same for you as well.
Saber?
Saber?
シロウには聖杯が必要だ。
You need the Holy Grail. Well, you're just getting straight to it, wanting to time travel back to the fire. Is that what you mean? But you said I should forget that. Unless you character developed past what you were saying that you wanted your wish to be in Fate Zero, and your wish is actually changed as a result of that?
私があなたに呼び出されたのは必然だったのです、マスター。
It was inevitable that I be called to you, Master. Dash, 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 dash. How can I answer that?
先に眠ります。シロウもあまり無茶はしないように。
I'll go ahead and sleep. Please do not push yourself, Shiro. Saber leaves. Indeed. I cross my arms and ponder. Do I need the Holy Grail? Do you want the Holy Grail? You think you need it to have a wish to go back in time and stop the fire, most likely. Maybe that's what your actual wish is right now, but it might change by the end of the game, and you go back and stop and just do this Grail War over again, because you're like, fuck the past happened, I should fix the present. That might be it. We could also just go back to the fire. There's also, it's a visual novel, so multiple timelines. Maybe one timeline we go back and try to fix this Grail War, and another timeline we go back and try to fix the Fate Zero Grail War. Do I need the Holy Grail? The Grail that grants the wishes of its possessor. A vessel which contains unlimited amounts of magical energy, for which it is said nothing is impossible. Yes, and you haven't even thought for a second about what you would do with it. You frickin' wiener who supposedly wants to be a hero. Given an option to be a hero by getting this, and you're like, no, let's just not fight. Fighting is the bad. If I had such a thing, my wish would certainly be easily granted, but... Oh, and what's your wish exactly? To go back and stop the fire?
いや、違う。どう考えても聖杯なんていらないぞ。おい。
Fucking deflecting. That's wrong. No matter how I look at it, I don't need the Holy Grail. Maybe you don't want to need it because you don't want to get invested in the fight. You don't want to beat people. You just want to stop the fight from happening. Really, you could use the Holy Grail to do a lot of good, but all you can think about is doing bad things with it because you remember what Kirei told you about your wish of wanting a villain, and you're trying to not think about that. You're trying to not think about how true that is, that you just want... You want to live the fairy tale hero life where you get to the satisfaction of being a hero and saving the day. But that's the thing, is that most heroes don't actually think about it. It just happens naturally to them because they are a hero. I definitely don't need it. And that's, yep, you're thinking about what Kirei told you, about how you would want it to have a villain. And you're like, no, that's morally wrong. I don't want that. You're not even thinking about what good things you can do with it. All you're thinking is about the bad things Kirei said you could do with it. And you're like, yes, I do want those. But no, I don't need that. You're right, I want it, but I don't need it. You're not then taking the next step to be like, wait, what could I do with it that's good? All your mind is on is doing things with it that are bad. And you're like, nope, I don't want to do those bad things. You're morally right, but missing what is actually, could be much better. Because I don't have any wishes that won't come true or that are impossible. That's a lie. Because if it's a dream I can't reach by myself, I won't even dream it in the first place. Really? Is that really true? Or that's just ignoring something that you don't want to accept, that you will never enjoy being a hero. The night thickens. With only the moonlight, I listen to the distant wind in the familiar shed. Oh, hey, February 13th. Hey, that's kind of close to where we are, because we're February 10th right now. Infinity Arms. Infinity Arms? That sounds like a fun sequel to the hit Switch game Arms. Was it a hit? I don't know. I never bought Arms, but it sounds like the people that did enjoy it. Also, 13 is an unlucky number generally, so spooky, spooky. A red hill covered in corpses and a gray sky. Well, that's fun. Maybe I should stop on this. Because I should have to stop soon. I don't want to get into this if it's some big thing that's worth analyzing. Because it just might be. A red hill covered in corpses. That sounds like a really fun thing. This is probably going to be a dream. The start of every day is generally a dream. Oh, covered in corpses. This is likely the dream with Saber. Like, this is likely him... Because Saber was on top of a mountain of corpses of people that either were slain, that were comrades, or that she slew. That's probably what he's thinking of, if I had to guess. So let's go ahead and just be like, oh boy, more dreams. Okay, so yeah, we're going to stop here. This has been the end of this video of Let's Play Fate Stay Night Blind of the blind variety. I already said that. Until then, I still do not have the outro phrases. YouTube audience, see you next time, where we'll, do other things and stuff and things. Stop recording.